Alright, we've got a patch of nettles here that I'm gonna show you how to make nettle pesto out of. To start with, you want to wear gloves or be real careful. The tops of the nettle leaves here don't sting, but the undersides of them have stingers that will kind of give you a moderate burn that lasts usually a couple of hours or so. Not particularly dangerous, but really unpleasant. So I usually wear gloves when I do this. Other thing is I try to get smaller leaves. Aren't really bug eaten if I can choose that. Although the ones that have been nibbled on by bugs aren't really bad. We're going to wash them and blanch them before we do any of this. So for me, it's pretty easy to identify stinging nettles. You can see it's kind of a serrated leaf that grows on a single stalk with little branches that come out. It's not a vine or anything like that. Obviously the most sure way to tell a stinging nettle is to touch the underside of it. You can see I'm using these leather gloves here to just pluck off the leaves, and this is keeping my hands pretty well protected, but you got to be careful when you're plucking off the leaves that the other leaves don't brush up against your forearms. Alright, so I have got about half a grocery bag full, maybe 2 pounds or so. This will blanch down and hopefully give me about 2 quarts of pesto. So definitely a couple meals. And usually I do this a couple of times a year. If you're out looking for nettles, you can find them along trails. They typically grow lower in the mountains. I'm in a mixed forest, so deciduous and coniferous trees, and really not too far off, or not too far out from the road and parking lot. You can hear traffic going by, airplanes above, stuff like that. Nettles tend to, I mean, they're weeds, they grow everywhere pretty much. But if you find a good patch, you know, it's a good thing. They tend to recur every year in the same place, and they tend to be pretty prolific. So let's head back to the house and get these cleaned up, and I'll show you how to make the pesto. Alright, so I have got all these nettles back to the house, and now it's time to rinse them. My way of doing this is to just fill up the sink. I like a lot of water and a lot of room to move them around and stuff like that. For this process, tongs are your friends. Until you've got them blanched, they still sting. A couple of points about that. For gloves, I used some leather gloves or shearling gloves today, and they worked really well. In the past, I've tried using latex surgical gloves, even doubling them up, and invariably they always tear. Kitchen gloves, like the heavy-duty flocked latex ones, work pretty well, and those come up a little higher on your wrist, so those are a good bet. So I'm going to go through all of these. What I'm looking for is just any little forest remnants, dirt, twigs, other leaves that have fallen into there, things like that. You know, these are wild foraged, and you know, sometimes you bring a little bit of the forest back with you, and it's not the end of the world or whatever, but you just want to do your best to clean them up, soak them, and whatnot. And then next up's going to be boiling, and we'll talk about recipes for pestos. I've got a pot of water that's come to a boil now, so we're going to get these in here to blanch. And still using tongs, because they still will sting you a little bit, but once you get them in the water, the boiling water, that stingers just all goes away. So it doesn't matter if you crowd the pan too much here. I'm going to do this in a couple of batches. The water temperature will drop a little bit, and so you want it to come back up to a boil and give these a couple minutes of blanching time. This is kind of like spinach, where when it cooks, it really shrinks down on you. At 2 or 3 minutes of boiling in the water, and then next up will be to get it into the ice bath. The spider is a very good tool for this job here. Lets you get pretty much everything out of the pot. And then from here, get it into the ice bath. And we'll do that one more. And our last batch going into the ice bath there. Spread it around so everything gets a quick cool there. The point of this ice bath, whenever you're blanching vegetables or par cooking vegetables, is to shock them and kind of lock in a vibrant color. These darken when you cook them pretty quickly, so this step, the ice bath, may be unnecessary, but I always do it nonetheless. And then after this step, we want to get them into the colander to dry. You want them pretty dry, and like spinach, you're going to want to squeeze the moisture out of them. You don't want all that water going into your pesto. But now you can kind of sort through with your fingers and see if there's any little, like maple leaves or anything like that that's been left through. You don't want that going into your pesto. Not the end of the world if you miss something, but make it as nice as possible. See, there's a little twig. We want to get that out for sure. All right, so next steps will be getting some nuts toasted, garlic peeled, Parmesan cheese ready, and some olive oil, and that will all go into a food processor. Toasting up some hazelnuts here. So hazelnuts are not our traditional nut for pesto. Usually it's going to be pine nuts. Now, traditional pesto is basil, pine nuts, garlic, Parmesan cheese, and olive oil. But you can sub a variety of different kinds of nuts. Pine nuts obviously work great. I've had good results with walnuts, pistachios, even almonds. These hazelnuts, though, I'm going to toast them up to kind of bring out some of the flavor of them. And then after they're toasted a little bit, I'm going to put them into a tea towel and rub off as much of the skins as I can so I don't get the skins kind of clouding up the appearance of my pesto. Toasted nuts really kind of amplifies the flavor. Nettles, compared to fresh basil pesto, are a little milder, so I like increasing the flavor where I can. In addition to toasting these nuts to bring out the flavors, I'm probably going to put a little bit of grated lemon peel into it and a squirt of lemon juice to kind of brighten it up. Toasting nuts, you just want to do in a dry pan, kind of over a low medium temperature, moving them around a little bit so you don't get burned spots on them. And then once you start to smell kind of the fragrance of the nuts, or start to see them toasting a little bit, you're kind of close to where you need to be. After I'm done with that, like I said, I'm going to put these in a tea towel and rub the skins off. They should come off pretty easily once they're toasted. Okay, we're about ready to put it all together. I've got all of the ingredients here. So all of the nettles cooked down to what we see here. So this is about 3 cups of cooked nettles with all of the water squeezed out. It's pretty dry. It looks like a small amount, but once you start processing it, it grows a little bit on you. You can see I got most of the skins off of the hazelnuts there. Parmesan cheese, a little bit of kosher salt, and then lemon peel with this microplane here, and a little bit of lemon juice will go in there, and then garlic as well. I don't usually strictly follow a recipe, but as a general rule, for each cup of the cooked nettles, I use about 3 cloves of garlic, about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of nuts, 1/4 to 1/3 a cup of cheese, and then just a little squirt of lemon juice, lemon peel, pinch of salt to taste. After I get this all made, I'll post a pretty good recipe at the end. So if you do want to follow recipes, you can do that. But I really like to kind of play around with the flavors. I'm using a nice olive oil for this. This one we actually, my wife brought home from Italy from a little farm there. Very good peppery flavor, but any basic olive oil will work. A lot of times I just make this with the Costco olive oil. So next up is put it in a food processor and getting it all pureed up. I started with about 4 cloves of garlic in the food processor and gave that a little bit of head start. I don't like big chunks of garlic, but now I'm going in with half of the cooked nettles, a good handful of the nuts, get those chopped up in there, and then also I'm going to put in some Parmesan cheese. And really I'm just kind of going by feel on this, not really measuring. I'd say that's about a quarter cup of Parmesan cheese, maybe a tad more there, and then I'll squeeze a little lemon and lemon peel in there, and then we'll blitz it up and see how it tastes and then adjust. All right, and this is where we're looking at. It's a little dry. I'm not too worried about that. We can stir in olive oil in the bowl, but it looks like it's all incorporated. Tasted it a moment ago. It looks pretty good. I don't like to go too fine when I'm pureeing it, otherwise you end up with more of a paste than a pesto. So I'm going to stop here and do our next batch. I'm going to put this into a bowl and then combine them all together. And once I've got it in the bowl with both batches, I'll adjust the olive oil. All right, so I've got it all pureed and in the bowl. I've added about a half to 3/4 of a cup of olive oil, and this is about where I like it. I don't like it swimming in olive oil. You can see that it's got enough olive oil that everything's glossy, but it's not swimming in olive oil. And I think the benefit of this is if you want to put this on pasta or gnocchi, which is the traditional use of pesto, you can always add olive oil to thin it out. But you can also use this a dollop on fish or as a spread for avocado toast, maybe a roasted or a steamed chicken, something like that. This is just a good way to add a garnish and some flavor to a lot of different things this way. When I put it into the deli containers here, I'm going to put a little layer of olive oil on top, and that kind of keeps it from browning, keeps it a little bit fresh. This will last in the refrigerator for several weeks or so, but I tend to go through it pretty quickly. It just gets put into a lot of different things that I'm cooking. Other thing that I like doing is I like leaving a little bit of texture in there, so you can get the crunch from the nuts. You can see the particles of cheese in there, some of the texture from the nettles as well. In addition to olive oil, I put another little squeeze of lemon juice in here and a pinch of salt just to get the seasoning right. But yeah, we are good with that. So I'm going to put the recipe up there. Hope you try it. Hope you enjoy it. Feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.